Hi Langlings! Today I'm going to talk about an important subject. What is that subject? When you like to know? Well, it's the subject of Jeremy Corbyn. Who is Jeremy Corbyn? Well, you will know if you've been following British politics. He's the leader of the Labour Party at the moment, and that means Labour is the party which is slightly to the left, right? There's two parties, Labour and Conservative. Labour is the one to the left. They're currently in opposition. That means they're not in government. Anyway, so what's happened with this guy and what's going on? Well, what's happened is his party have done a revolution or made a revolution against him, and the MPs, the members of parliament, have done a vote of no confidence, which basically means we don't think you're good or fit enough to lead this party. So why did they do that? Well, I think it's because Jeremy Corbyn is more to the radical left. Some of his policies are much more left than previous. I mean, like Tony Blair. Tony Blair was very centrist, right? He just wanted to get elected, be popular with the most voters, whereas Jeremy Corbyn is actually moving towards the left. So I think that's pretty kind of telling of the Labour Party, that they're meant to be this kind of lefty party, you know, sort of social justice, supporting everybody, all this kind of typical left-wing policy. But actually, the people who are elected there are mainly centrists who came in under Blair, you know, career politicians. So yeah, it's interesting that they did this revolution. Anyway, what's going to happen? What's happening is Jeremy Corbyn is in a sort of leadership battle with someone called Owen. I never heard of him either. Anyway, so it goes to the Labour Party members to vote for the leader, and that will be decided by its trade unions. Oh yeah, left wing. And Labour Party members and paid up supporters. So actually you only have to pay 25 quid and then you can vote for Labour, which is pretty fun, or vote for the Labour election. Anyway, what's going to happen is Jeremy Corbyn is going to win by quite some margin because he has kind of popular support in the Labour Party and he's the recognised brand, that kind of thing. Anyway, so what's going to happen? There's going to be like civil war in the Labour Party. They've spoken of deselecting MPs. That means they literally throw the MP out, which is pretty brutal. It's fairly unheard of in British politics, so I don't really know if that's going to happen. But anyway, I think Jeremy Corbyn is a bit refreshing. He's like old school. He's not such of this media personality. He's not Tony Blair, David Cameron, Barack Obama, Donald Trump. He's really, really old school. He just talks about the issues, the problems that people are facing. So for me, I think it's quite good. And actually it's led to a kind of pluralism in British politics, which we haven't seen for a long time. Because if you have, in a lot of countries, I'm not sure what it's like in your country, but you know, it's usually one, two, at the max three parties which are kind of ruling everything. And if they're all kind of in the center, or quite often as not in Western democracies center-right, you know, nothing ever really gets changed. So I think it's good to have a proper sort of left leader in order to make some distinction. And I mean, it's difficult because if someone talks about you know, whatever the issue be, whether it be you know, workers' rights, those kind of things, then you know, you pretty much get shouted down and called a communist, which is it has its way. Extreme left is no good either. It's like the same as extreme right. But, moving a little bit to the left, there are some advantages. Like moving to a little bit to the right can have some advantages as well. So I don't think Jeremy Corbyn should be labelled as like this extremist, right? He's just not like this polished politician like you've seen so many times. I mean, if you watch him in Prime Minister's Questions. If you haven't seen Prime Minister's Questions, type that into YouTube right now and watch some Prime Minister's Questions. That's so much fun. Anyway, it's like the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, and they have like this kind of rap battle. Anyway, and what was I saying? Anyway, just that Jeremy Corbyn actually offers some kind of alternative. And I was talking about how Jeremy, in Prime Minister's Questions, he's like, Mrs. Brown from 5 Black Crescent says that she's having trouble with her bins. Her bins are overflowing with rubbish. What are you going to do about that, Prime Minister? And when you first started doing this, everyone was like booing, like, ooh, because it's like unheard of. I mean, usually at this event, it's called the Dispatch Box. You have this kind of big, massive, sort of clever debates. It's all about the media headlines. But here is Jeremy in the kind of quite a boring fashion, just going, talking about some ordinary person and about their ordinary, lifestyle. And I mean, if you take it with like David Cameron's government, they are all sort of Etonians and stuff like that, very privileged background. So I just found it hilarious that they had to sit through this quite sort of boring account of ordinary people's problems. Yeah. Anyway, like, for me, Jeremy Corbyn strikes me as a slightly more normal person than most people are, in politics at least. He's a bit more down to earth, a bit more talking about what ordinary people care about. I mean, if you saw that Brexit vote, quite clearly, like, what was going on there? Like, lots of people felt sort of angry about the typical elites and stuff like that, like the political elites and in Europe and in Westminster, in London, so on. So I think Jeremy Corbyn is a fresh breath of air in politics, and yeah, I really hope to see him, go further and be an interesting voice in the British political spectrum. I don't see why not. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. This is a bit of a different feel to it. It's on the webcam. Woo! Anyway, don't forget to subscribe if you like these videos. If you'd like to hear more political discussion, especially about Britain, I'd be very happy to share my thoughts and ideas. Hope to provide a bit of a reaction also to the Corbyn election, should it come to place. Anyways, this has been Language Tutor Online. Charles Wood, English teacher. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like. If you want to hear more about Britain or British politics, this is the place to be. Oh yeah.